because you are in the Hoodwood. I'm the Black Bandit, KJ Green, welcoming you to another edition of Sports from the Hoodwood. Coming up in this edition, the Rubiales soccer situation in Spain. Can a guy just take a hint and go away? Take an in-depth look at that sordid mess. What a finish in Williamsport. I've got highlights. You'll love the way the Little League World Series ended. A sneak preview of things to come. A quick NFL pick. Just one. Well, it's only for Thursday next week. Take a look at that Chiefs-Lions game. The Hoodwood Hot 5 comes out with a preseason Hot 5. And can you imagine who I've got picked as the number one team? Got all that. Phat dap, head slap, and a final word from the Wood, wrapping up the 10th season. Hey, finishing up strong. 10 seasons almost in the books. Finish up. This is Sports from the Hoodwood. Put your crash helmets on and buckle your seatbelts. And let's go.
Location for the most honest, unfiltered commentary and insight on the world of sports. Now, once again, here's Hoodwood's hometown hero, KJ Green.
Greetings from the Hoodwood, where we're wrapping up 10 seasons in the Hoodwood. This is the final show of the 10th season. Next week, we'll start out fresh with the NFL picks, whole bunch of stuff. I don't know how much I'm going to change up, make things new, but this is putting a nice little bow on the 10th season. I'm your man, KJ Green, welcoming you to another edition of Sports from the Hoodwood, wherever you're listening, whether podcast or YouTube, greetings. I'm glad you joined me, whether you're listening in your vehicle or watching my ugly mug on YouTube. I'm glad you decided to spend a little time with me in the Hoodwood. And I will detail on how you can contact Hoodwood and all the different varieties of viewing and listening at your disposal at the end of the show. But let's start out with some serious business. And if you've been around the Hoodwood long enough, you know that I have two daughters. I have a 26-year-old and I have a 15-year-old. Now, neither one of them were ever very much athletically inclined, even though my youngest said she didn't mind and wanted to play soccer, but her mother wasn't that down for it, so she never did play. Oh well, she's a gamer, no big deal. But as a father of two daughters, seeing the way that Spanish Federation President Luis Rubiales did made my stomach turn. And I chronicled it some in Phat Dap Head Slap last week, but it deserved a more in-depth look. And what happened, now, Spain won the Women's World Cup, beating England 1-0. Jenny Hermoso scored the game-winning goal. Well, I beg your pardon, she didn't score the game-winning goal, but she was on the winning side that, was part of, like I said, the team that won the cup. Luis Rubiales is the president of the Spanish Federation of Soccer. And he was a former player, and he's now a bureaucrat. But he was so enthusiastic, he kissed Hermoso. And I'm not talking about one of those, the European kiss one cheek, kiss the other, whatever. He kissed her full out on the mouth, and she didn't like it. And if you look at the tape, you can tell she didn't like it. And Rubiales immediately came under fire for his, for lack of a better way of putting it, chauvinistic attitude toward doing this. Like, I'm the president of the Spanish Federation, of soccer, football, whatever they want to call it in Europe. I'm going to do what I want. If I want to kiss this woman, she's going to take it and she's going to like it. It's thinking like that. It's the kind of caveman, Neanderthal, chauvinistic type mentality that has long since disappeared from sports and from society in general. And it's something that you don't push up on somebody that doesn't want to be pushed up on. You're enthusiastic, you're happy, that's cool. A hug, a kiss on the cheek, maybe. But you didn't know this girl. Even if you were on friendly terms, that just wasn't appropriate. And the worst thing about it is Rubiales has this mentality of, y'all need to back up from me. Don't you know who I am? I know what's best. I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to resign. He doubled down and said it was consensual. But when Hermoso was asked, she basically said, nah, I wasn't trying to do that. So you have a woman who says she wasn't down for it, and you have this high-ranking man who says otherwise. And to the credit of both the Spanish men and women's teams, they have basically said, we're not taking the pitch until this guy is gone. Now, Rubiales has said, I'm not going anywhere. Now, FIFA, the governing body of soccer around the world, has suspended Rubiales for 90 days. Will this lead to his termination? No one knows. But there are so many people, I wouldn't say on both sides, because there's a growing majority on one side that is fully backing Hermoso and have basically said, we're behind Jenny. I mean, and when you have such a big coalition of players, both male and female, calling this dude out, saying, hey, cuz, you were wrong. That shit don't fly. You need to go. And with the quickness. And the worst thing about it is Rubiales acts with this whole, I didn't do anything wrong. Why are they sweating me? Why are they pushing up on me? Y'all act like I did something. Yeah, you did do something. I've taught both of my daughters to be strong in their own right and to reject any kind of bullying, unwanted advances, any kind of harassment. And a situation like this, where you have somebody of power, of real power, acting entitled, like Rubiales has, and essentially doubling down on his stance, and basically folding his arms and going, I ain't going nowhere, and you ain't gonna do nothing to make me go anywhere. The man needs to be fired. I mean, point blank. The man needs to lose his job. It is not something that you just brush off of, oh, it was in the heat of the moment or whatever. No, the man said she wanted it. And it goes back to that whole culture of a woman asking for it, a woman wanting, whatever unwanted advances. She deserved it. I'm a man. I can do what I want to. Shit like that don't fly, and I don't like it. And I'm very, very blunt about this because it's something that needs to be said. It's something that needs to be done. This dude is not the same. It's not like he hasn't done other outrageous stuff before. I mean, during a game not too long ago, he grabbed his private parts in front of the Spanish queen and the Spanish princess, who is 16. She's Jazzy's age. If somebody did that in front of my kid, they be eating a knuckle sandwich. They be spitting teeth. That is stuff like that just does not fly in this day and age. I am among the growing chorus of people, both in the media, regular fans, players on the Spanish, both men's and women's team, that are calling for Rubiales to step down, to resign. Quit before you get fired. Because if the governing body, the powers that be, in the Spanish Federation, the REFEF, as in its shortened title, don't take drastic action to curb this, you are setting a bad and dangerous precedent where these rich, entitled men feel that they can get away with anything like that. The man needs to lose his job, and that right soon. There's no place for that in sports in the 21st century. There is just no place for it. The man has got to go. I gotta be honest. Let's lighten things up around here. I gotta be honest. I love the Little League World Series. Love it. I love watching these kids play. The enthusiasm they play with, and the final tournament in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, is a staple at the end of summer. And you just love watching these kids play. And you have the international team playing. You always have an American team playing in the final. And the final this year was Curacao versus El Segundo, California. And it was an absolute gem of a game. El Segundo pushing out to a 5-1 lead. I'll show you the highlights here. Curacao loads the bases and wow, just socks one over the fence. And suddenly the game is tied. I mean, you're going, this is just heartbreak for these kids from Cali. But did they collapse? Nah. They turned Lewis Lappy, who had 4 home runs already in the tournament. And you talk about big-time players making big-time plays. That is a no doubt, don't look for it, Jackets not coming back type of home run. And the enthusiasm that Lewis Lappy circling the bases and running into the arms of his gleeful teammates, 6-5 the final, a walk-off winner for El Segundo, California. What a finish. I'm just like, wow. Are you kidding me? That's how you finish a game. I mean, and you felt for the kids from Curacao. They gave it a go. They played their hearts out. No errors on either side for the finale. You gotta love that. And just the way the kids handled themselves on both sides. Lots of great sportsmanship. And you loved how Lappy talked to the young man, the pitch who served up the home run. Gave him words of encouragement, told him to keep his head up, and you love the sportsmanship. That's what Little League World Series, Little League Baseball is all about. Great play, never say die hustle, sportsmanship at the end, and FUN fun is the name of the game. That just the way these kids play. I love watching them, and like I said, hats off, and I wouldn't say fat dap to El Segundo, who put as a walk-off winner. Let's take our first break and come back with a little teeny snippet of NFL previews. Since NFL season starts a week from Thursday on the 7th, we're going to do stuff a little bit different with NFL previews. We're going to start doing all the Thursday previews for the coming week ahead of time. Well, this week, I should say. I'll lay it all out for you. Sports with Hoodwood comes back at you after this.
Is today your last day on Earth because you are being deployed to space tomorrow? Have you just turned 18 and you're ready to get out of your parents' house? Has your granddaughter gotten her boyfriend pregnant? Whatever your reason, you need us at GottaGetMarriedNow.com. We specialize in last-minute weddings. Active duty, military veterans and retired discounts are available. Visit us at GottaGetMarriedNow.com.
no-nonsense commentary, thorough analysis, and logical insight on the world of sports. Now here's the man that Wikipedia and Google call for sports fact check. Your host, KJ Green.
You are back in the Hoodwood. My name is KJ Green, and it is just about time. It's time. Time for what? Time for NFL picks. Yes, we're almost on top of another exciting season of NFL football. And of course, yours truly doing the prognostication of picks. Now, we're going to do something different in the Hoodwood this year. For years, I will admit, I have struggled mightily to get the picks posted in a timely manner because of the Thursday game. I've long since been someone who has despised the Thursday game. Season opener accepted, Thursday game for Thanksgiving, triple header accepted. Those are exceptions. I'm not talking about those games. I'm talking about the other regular season games that are run on Amazon Prime. I've got nothing against Amazon Prime. I've got no problem with Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit on the call. They do a fine job. I just hate games on Thursday. They just ruin the rhythm of the season for me. So I decided I didn't want to do a podcast for just one pick for Thursday and then break everything up. So I decided what the best way to do is to do a wraparound. What's that you say? I decided to make next week's Thursday game the last pick of the lineup of picks. So I will do a pick for this Thursday game for the 7th, just this one pick. And then next week I'll do the entire slate of games for the September 10th and they do the doubleheader for a Monday game in week 2, so we won't worry about that. But we'll do the entire slate of games for the Sunday night game, the Monday night game, and the Thursday game for the 14th will be the last pick of the week. So, and we'll add that, so the last pick of the week will be the next week's Thursday game, and then we'll continue to keep a running tally of the games going forward. Again, we'll do the Hoodwood upset of the week, and I'll do the Hoodwood lock of the week. But we won't do any of those until we finish all the week 1 picks next time we get together. So next week I'll say I was 0-1 or 1-0 if I get this particular pick right. So let's start again with the picks with the odds provided by ESPN for entertainment and comparison purposes only. I only tell you that. I tell you this every week. So for those who have a proclivity to bet on the lines, if you do so and lose, I don't want to hear your complaints. If you make money, cool. If not, that's on you. First game of the season is the Thursday, September 7th game, the season opener between the Lions, who finished 9-8 in 2022, and the Kansas City Chiefs, who were 14-3 last year, the defending Super Bowl champs. Game being played at GHA. Easy for me to say. Try it again. Game being played at GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City, Missouri. 8:20 kickoff on NBC. Now, this game is going to be on NBC. All the rest of the games, I believe, up until Thanksgiving are going to be on Amazon Prime. But we'll cover that when we get to it. The Chiefs are 6.5-point favorites. Last year, the Lions missed the playoffs on tiebreakers, though they did win their season finale 20-16 over the Packers to knock that team out of playoff contention. The Chiefs are the defending Super Bowl champs, having defeated the Eagles 38-35 in Super Bowl 57. Fast facts will be on the bottom of the screen. And as you read the fast fact, and I will read that is the 9th time in 10 years that the defending Super Bowl champ has hosted the season opener. Now, the Lions' strong play down the stretch in 22, though they were bounced by tiebreakers in the season finale, but their strong finish gave strong portent to a rousing 23 on tap. They started the season in one of the NFL's toughest venues, facing the defending Super Bowl champs in the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the Chiefs are a tough draw even in the best of circumstances. Facing them in their second title banner raise in the last 4 years is going to make it an even more daunting task. Jared Goff is a seasoned vet for the Lions, and he will have a solid receiving core to throw to, and a rugged running back in David Montgomery, I don't know the grad, to keep a freewheeling Chiefs defense honest. Now, the Chiefs have the irrepressible Patrick Mahomes, and that in itself will give the Lions pause from the jump. I think it will be a tight game. Both teams will be feeling each other out like boxers, kind of punching and feinting, but the Chiefs will always seem to find a way to capitalize on one mistake with a big play of their own. The Lions are showing that they are ready for primetime indeed, and will give it a strong go. But the Chiefs in Arrowhead is too tall a task for this up-and-coming squad. The defending champs start off their title defense, often winging with a solid win. The pick here is Kansas City. There you have it. One game, one pick. Last year, I was 167, 98-3. Two of those were ties. One was a no contest. I did not count that as a win or loss in my standings because of the Bills-Bengals game of the Damar Hamlin situation. So, we will have a full slate of games next Saturday's episode, with the Thursday game being the last game, that being the game of the 14th. Let's take a final timeout, come back with the Hoodwood Hot 5, which has the preseason college top 5, at least the Hoodwood top 5, Phat Dap, Head Slap, and the final word from Hoodwood. Sports from Hoodwood heads down the home stretch after this.
I'm actor Rajim A. Gross. Some of the studios would like to scan our images and only pay us for one day's worth of work and be able to use our likenesses, our voices, our mannerisms as computer-generated characters, not only in the movie that we might be filming in, but in all future films as well. That's not fair. And I thank the SAG board members that are fighting for my rights as an actor to work on a union film. So I just want to say, standing in complete solidarity with everyone. Thank you.
You're tuned into Sports from the Hoodwood, the internet's foremost location for no-nonsense commentary, insight, and opinions on the world of sports. Here now live in living color, black by popular demand, your host, KJ Green.
Rounding third and headed for home here in the Hoodwood, we'll finish up strong with the Hoodwood Hot 5, Phat Dap and Head Slap, and the final word from the wood. This week's Hoodwood Hot 5 is the preseason college football Hoodwood Hot 5. Even though one of the 5 teams has already played its first game, we will start out, since I consider week 0, I don't consider that to be a true week of the college football spectrum. September 2nd is when basically every college football team takes the field in anticipation of their first game and their journey toward, hopefully, trying to qualify for the college football playoff. I think this is the last year that they're going to have 4 teams in the college football playoff. They're going to expand it to, I believe, 8 or 12 teams next year. But that's next year. We're talking this year and the Hoodwood Hot 5. We'll go in reverse order from 5 to number 1. Our 5th ranked preseason team is the USC Trojans out of Pac-12. This is the swan song for the Pac-12 in its current iteration, as USC is going to the Big Ten next year. Last year, they were 11-3, losing to Tulane 46-45 in the Cotton Bowl. This year, they already are 1-0, having defeated San Jose State 56-28. Our 4th ranked team is Alabama. The Crimson Tide last year were 11-2 and defeated Kansas State 45-20 in the Sugar Bowl. They lost the SEC championship to Georgia and did not qualify for the college football playoff. Our 3rd ranked team in the Hoodwood Hot 5 is the Ohio State Buckeyes. They finished 11-2 last year, national semifinalists, losing to Georgia 42-41 in the slimmest of margins, with that field goal going wide left at exactly midnight in Atlanta. And they are still in the Big Ten and still a tough team to deal with. And of course, their arch rivals, who's the number 2 team in the Hoodwood Hot 5, facing off Michigan, who was 13-1 last year, also a national semifinalist. They too fell in a classic game, losing to TCU 51-45. And of course, that leaves our number 1 team in the Hoodwood Hot 5. This is the 5 teams that I think are best. They aren't necessarily in the polls the same way, but your favorite, my favorite, the national favorite for now are the Georgia Bulldogs. Last year they went 15-0, defeating Texas Christian 65-7. That was a beat down in the boogie down in the worst kind of way. That game was over, I think, even before it started. I mean, I thought TCU might have had a puncher's chance, but Georgia punched them in the mouth and kept on punching. And it was like you wanted a referee to step in and cover up TCU and go, okay, enough, stop hitting them. But until proven otherwise, Georgia is the best team in the land. And until proven otherwise, they will be number 1 in this Hoodwood Hot 5 poll. Now, Georgia, of course, sooner or later going to have to cross Alabama. Ohio State, Michigan, they don't play each other till after Thanksgiving. But you know there are other teams that are lurking out there. Penn State, Utah, possibly, is there another dark horse in the SEC or the Big Ten? Who knows? But these are the top 5 teams I have in the Hoodwood Hot 5 right now. That's my Hot 5. What's yours? And now let's look at the Phat Dap and Head Slap of the week. Multiple ones again this week. Phat Daps of the week go to 2 powerful ladies. First of all, Phat Dap to Simone Biles, who won her 8th 8th National Gymnastics Championship with an all-around total of 118.4 points, 4 points better than Charlize Jones to win in San Jose. It's a vindication for Biles, who made a triumphant comeback and should shut up all the haters that dogged her when she dropped out of the Tokyo Olympics citing mental health. She dropped out because she was in her head in a bad space, and she didn't feel that she was going to perform at her best. And when you're not in that right mental space and you try to perform, you may get hurt. Gymnastics ain't something to play with. She focused on her mental health, took time out, got married, and took more than 2 years to really get back into competitive gymnastics. She came back and won in San Jose in the national championships. She is cut from the Hoodwood cloth in the highest form. She's resilient, tough, and a winner. Phat Dap also going out to Sha'Carri Richardson, who picked up 2 golds and a bronze in the World Championships in Budapest. She rewrote the record books with a winning time of 10.65 seconds to claim her first international title. And she was also part of the gold medal 4x100 relay and finished 3rd in the 200 meters. You can recall that Richardson was disqualified from the Olympics in Tokyo in 2021 after a positive drug test for marijuana. She took hella heat for that failed drug test, and many were openly critical of her flamboyant style. But Richardson, like Biles, slowly rebounded, and she ascended to the highest level of her field. She's a strong favorite to make the U.S. Olympic track team in 2024 that will head to Paris. Like Biles, she's another one cut from the Hoodwood and a true winner in every sense. Our head slap will go to an ump that was thrown out of a game. And you go, wait a minute, umps don't get thrown out of a game, players get thrown out of a game. Well, let me detail it. Sunday's game between Frontier League game between the New York Boulders and the Tri-City Valley Cats. The visiting Valley Cats accused the homestanding Boulders of stealing signs via the center field camera in the first inning. First base umpire Warren Nicholson told the bowlers that they had to remove the league-approved tablet in the dugout, which led to New York bowlers second baseman Tucker Nathans questioning that call. Nathans and Nicholson got into it. Nicholson eventually ejected Nathans, and they got into it further. And it looked like, you can see the video, that Nicholson jabbed Nathans in the midsection. Now, Nicholson was asked to leave the game, which was then delayed an hour to remove the center field camera, which may or may not have been involved in the sign stealing issue. The bowlers were openly critical of the Valley Cats for making the accusation, saying that they had no intent on stealing signs and accusing the Valley Cats of stealing signs in their own right. But Nicholson should know better. As somebody who has always baited umpires, when I played softball, I've got nose to nose with umpires. But to touch an umpire or have an umpire touch you is just out of line. Nicholson should have known better. He tried to walk away, and I don't care what the player said that made him turn around. Cuss him out? Yes. Touch him? Head slap to Warren Nicholson, an umpire who basically will probably never get up to the show because he's been branded a hothead. Our head slaps of the week, first of all, to the idiots, and I say idiots, in Coors Field who decided it would be a great idea to run onto the field and try to take selfies with Ronald Acuna Jr. during the game. Make this make sense. They claim they wanted to take selfies, but this is a scary and bizarre incident that was not viewed kindly by Coors Field security. This should never, ever happen. And I'm all for fans interacting with players in a safe, controlled way, but having enthusiastic and love for the players and doing something like this is two different things. I love seeing security deal with the miscreants with full body tackles. Take them out, hurt them, so they will think twice and other people will be cowed to not do something again. Head slap to the idiots who think that being on the field is the best way to interact with the game. Here's a pro tip. It ain't. And now, without much further ado, let's go to the final word from the wood. I've been doing this a while. I don't make any money off of this endeavor, so this would be considered definitely a labor of love. This is the coda of the 10th season of doing this podcast. What started out as a column in the old Sporting News blog forests turned into a video when those were shut down. I think had they not been, I likely still would have been writing. My prose is sometimes better read than said. All things considered, I've enjoyed bringing this podcast to you. Though there have been some times I hate the work involved, and I'm seriously considering turning over the editing duties over to my youngest, Princess Jazzy, who has shown a better proclivity to the nuances of editing. But that might be something I do down the road, making this a family affair. As it stands now, I continue to endeavor to bring my humble opinions and insight to you on a fairly regular basis. For the weeks that I have missed, I do apologize. Life has its way of pushing its way into making you conform and to those who look for the show on a regular basis. And I do appreciate those who have called or texted or sent emails wondering if I'm okay. I do try to be all right, and I do appreciate the concern. As long as I have the capacity to bring this to you and the technology will allow and behaves itself, you can find your way to the Hoodwood on a fairly regular basis. Snuffy will continue to watch over my shoulder and have something to say here and there, and you'll still get your steady dose of fat dabs, head slaps, and the Hoodwood hot five, and of course the final word from the wood. I want to make sure that I do acknowledge the people that you don't see. The voices that introduces the segments are people that I truly appreciate. You see the names in passing on the credit, but I have to say a big thank you to Aaron Wild and Jim Fishback, who are radio personalities in Texas and Illinois respectively, and people that go way back from when my days in working in radio. They were kind enough to do a quick soundbite and introduce the show, and I am eternally grateful for their assistance. You can check them out online. I will provide the ways that you can listen to either one of them on their respective radio shows. Eden Castile and Ron Cowie are dear friends of mine, coming from my alma mater, the University of Cincinnati, and they are entertainers in their own right. And I'll provide the link to Eden's one-woman show that she does so well on the East Coast. And Ron does various voice things and voiceovers, and he's also a very technical person. They're a married couple. I know, like I said, I've known them from back my days back at UC, and again, I am eternally grateful for their help. And of course, I'm forever in debt to my big bro, Raj Gross, who is a wonderful radio. He's an actor, he's a director, he's done a lot of things. I've worked with him in many endeavors. He has helped steer this podcast to be better, and his graphical assistance as well has made the show look and sound a lot more cleaner and clear, a lot better than when I first started doing this video blog in 2011. So on we go to the 11th season of the Hoodwood. Next week will be the first show of the new season. And though the fan base and audience is small, your patronage is so very much appreciated. It's quite humbling when you find that someone in Europe is actually listening to something you say and have something to say about what you got to say. So, to those who take time to stop through the Hoodwood, even if for a segment or two, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And to conclude the 10th season, that is the final word from the wood. Now, with the music coming up in the background, you know that means that your time here in the Hoodwood is just about done, and I thank you so much for your visit. The show's email is kjgreen@sportsfromthehoodwood.com. Please send me emails regarding show topics, both past and future, questions, comments on the show, both praise and criticism, welcome correspondence, and we'll try to get back to you in a timely manner. The show's website is sportsfromthehoodwood.com. It has a back catalog of the show dating back 11 years in both audio and video forms. So you can check that out, the shows that you may have missed. You can join the debate and conversation on the Sports from the Hoodwood Facebook page. It also has video podcast simulcast, as well as other topics, plenty of stuff I find on the web, plenty of great sports debates, and lots more. I post there often and often respond to member posts. Video versions are also on YouTube. Please hit that subscribe and smash those like buttons for more great content. The link to the podcast is also on the show's Twitter feed, or X, whatever they call it, but I am moving that to Tribal here in the next couple of weeks. We will have more details about that going forward, and that will be at Hoodwood Sports. The audio version is on Spotify, Amazon Music, Pandora, Google Podcasts, iTunes, Apple, and a host of other fine podcast platforms and providers. If the Hoodwood is not on your favorite, ask for it. Drop me a line, and I will do what I can to get it on your favorite platform. Special thanks, as always, to Rage Pictures for their show assistance, the website, and the show itself. And that's it from the Hoodwood. After 10 seasons, we're still going strong. The new season starts next week. Until next time, from the Hoodwood, fellow sports fans, I'm KJ Green, 30.
Sports from the Hoodwood
Is a Black Bandit Productions and Enterprises presentation
of a 551 Audio and Films production.